Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode where I review vintage fountain pens. This time I have for you a real treat from KAWECO. I have the model KAWECO Dia 85F. F stands for the nib size. It is a beautiful, beautiful celluloid fountain pen, and it is one of my latest acquisitions. You must know that in the 1940s, KAWECO had three pen lines. The first one was called the Elite, the second one was this Dia model, and the third one was the Helios transparent line. The KAWECO Dia was introduced in 1934. It was named Dia. It is believed that the name Dia comes from the Greek prefix dia, which means going through, in between, middle, through, of, or complete. And some of the people consider that this was the middle range level of the KAWECO that time, and they called it dia. But others think that the dia comes from the clear ink window, which was like a novelty in 1934 for KAWECO. This ink window was possible due to the new piston filling mechanism that was introduced for the first time in this year. You might remember that Pelican, with its Model 100, was the first one in 1929 to bring to the German market this piston filling mechanism. Before that, there were predominant button fillers, and I have one here. This is a model indeed from 1937, but it still had this old filling mechanism. Indeed, this model of the button filler was the improved version of the lever filling system. And indeed, KAWECO used this model from 1928 till the 1940s. As we look at a design evolution, we can see this is the model, it's named KAWECO Original 52 from 1937, and I will put it here. Next to it, I will put our KAWECO Dia model, and I think this is an early one. In my opinion, it was produced between 1934 and 1939, especially this model 85, the 85 model. But I want to show you also other models, and you can see the evolution. This is a KAWECO Dia 802G from the beginning of the 1950s, and you can see the evolution, the trend. So if we had this rounded, quite flat 1930s model, the 1950s model are rounded like a cigar shape or torpedo shape. And I also have another 1950s model in its original box. This was the Sonderklasse. You can see the same rounding tendons of the 1950s models. But I also have a KAWECO Dia from the 1960s, the beginning of the 1960s, with its original papers and box. And the same cigar shape, but the trend of the 1960s of semi-hooded nibs. So I have a Dia from the 1950s with the open nib. So this was the tendons. The ink windows remains the same, but compared to the Dia of the 1930s, we have the blue ink window. This window of the model Dia from the 1930s was originally, it was in the color green, but has darkened almost completely in time, which is very common to this model, presumably due to the use of iron in inks, and it darkened it over the use in many years. I think I have a picture, but let's say it was similar to this Sonderklasse, but it was in a much more greener version. And I think I have here. Yes, I have here. So just for showing you guys, I have here KAWECO Sport from the beginning of the 1950s, and it had this green window, and it's quite strange because when you put the light on it, it changes this color green. It is quite interesting, but I use it for to demonstrate my point. Okay, so let me put back the Sonderklasse in its box. Quite a nice looking Sonderklasse from the 1950s. I must tell you that I like the KAWECOs from the 1950s. I will put also this beautiful KAWECO, and I didn't tell you the number, KAWECO Dia V3 with a oblique F nib. Let's put this back on the box. Okay. You can see the original 1950s, sorry, 1960s KAWECO Dia box. I will take aside also this KAWECO Dia 802G from the beginning of the 1950s. And also, I will put back this model from 1937, this button filler, KAWECO Original 52. A wonderful example. So I will concentrate on this fountain pen. You can see the beautiful shining celluloid. You can see it with this high shine and gloss. It just feels right in the hand with a nice warm grip and feeling, which can only be felt when you use a celluloid pen. It is quite a nice feeling. It is quite liked by modern standards. You can see all the celluloid, and those are the only metallic parts on it. It has a blind cap at the end of the turning knob. The blind cap will prevent accidental turning of the piston knob, thus preventing ink spills. Well, I must tell you guys that KAWECO made some incredible names in the 1930s, but this time I'm afraid that this fountain pen does not have the original name. You can see it. And at first I thought it is a model from the years of war when they use the non-steel nibs, bad contra nibs or pallet nibs, but it is not. If we can, I think I can zoom it because I want to show you the inscription. So we have Nichrome, Nichroma, Iridium Point, and you can see it's a start of the a logo there, but definitely not the KAWECO logo. So this is a replacement nib. It looks quite nice. You can see, I think it writes quite well, and we will do a writing sample of it, of course. The the feed, you can see it's ebonite, and I believe it's original. You can see also the ink window. It's quite stained, but transparent. You can see my finger. And let me see if we can, if I can show you the turning knob. So I will just put it like this, and let me see. Let me see if I can show you the turning knob. Yes, it moves, and I hope you can see it. And now it moves back. I'm not so sure that the cork is in great shape. Maybe it needs to be replaced. And for the moment, I will leave the dimension of this beautiful KAWECO on the screen. And after that, we will do a writing sample. And I'm sorry, guys, again, because I don't know if it's functional or not, but I've tested it when I bought it, and I saw that although the piston is working, it's turning, the ink wasn't drawn to the barrel, so in this chamber here, and I think it needs a new wooden cork to be replaced. Unfortunately, I don't know how to open it, and I don't want to break it. I have lots of respect for these vintage fountain pens, and I hope that one day I can restore it to its former glory, and also to find the proper nib. It posts, as you can see, but I prefer to use it unposted. And for the writing sample, first of all, I will change the angle of the camera for you to see better what I'm writing. Okay, for the ink, we will use the Rot or a red Faber-Castell ink. Let me open it. Just I will simply dip it in ink, and let me see if it will work. This is a KAWECO Dia. The number is written right here. It's an 85. 85. Original, it had an F nib, and it was a gold nib, I presume. Gold. But this time we have a steel nib. Let me give you a little zoom because I want to show you. Yes. Okay. We have a steel nib. This is clearly a replacement nib. Maybe I can see if we have some line variations, but no, this has no flex, the nib. Let me do the pressure test. It has some line variation, as you can see. Let me see how you can use it for signatures. Yes, quite nice. And okay, let us write the famous foxy words. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You can hear some scratching of the paper, but I assure you it's not really scratching, but I guess it's a little feedback of this steel nib. Maybe it has a sweet spot. I don't know. What you can see, it writes quite well. Let me see how juicy it is, but I don't have. Let me see. Let me see now. I think it's a medium juice nib. Yes. Guys, this was my review of an iconic KAWECO fountain pen. I'm sorry that it didn't have its original nib, but you can see the build quality of this wonderful, wonderful instrument. And bear in mind, this is from the late 1930s, so it is a testament of how great KAWECO was. In my opinion, in the 1930s, KAWECO was a brand that surpassed Montblanc and Pelican at the quality of their fountain pens, and mostly on the quality of their gold semi-flexible nibs. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this review of a wonderful, wonderful writing instrument. If you've enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel to support my activity. I wish you to have a nice day. I hope I have ink on it. Yes. So, have a nice day wherever you are. Thank you for your time. See you again at the next episode. Till then, bye bye.